All right, boys, we are watching the Why Ghost Adventures Fell Off. Now, I have a personal relationship with Ghost Adventures. Ghost Hunters, the original ones, the fucking goats. Me and my mom would sit up, especially on like rain days and whatnot, and we would sit there and watch these ghost shows, and man, they fucking take me back. But I will say, whenever you actually look back at these fucking shows, terrible. Absolutely garbage, not good. Obviously fake. They never catch anything, honestly, of any substance. They'll show scratches or, EVPs. That's how much I've watched these shows. EV fucking Ps. They're really not anything. And all of it can be easily debunked. So that's fun. So we will see today why Ghost Adventures fell off, bro. Why the fuck did they fall off, bro? I wonder. It's probably not because they never caught anything. That's probably not it. Anyways, let's watch this shit. I'd like to get to the bottom of this, honestly. I mean that.
It's 3 in the morning. The lights are off. The night vision camera is on.
Did you hear that? Zach! Oh my God! What is it?
Whenever he's like, "Did you hear that?" No, none of us did. The microphones can hear way more than your ears can. No, we didn't hear it.
Stop! A grown man with frosted tips is standing in what used to be a hospital, yelling at the empty air like it owes him money. He demands answers, he demands respect, he demands that the ghost show itself. And when nothing happens, he gasps, clutches his chest, and announces that the room is suddenly filled with rage, hatred, and possibly a demon.
No. Hold on. I just saw. You're shaking. No, I know. I just saw. There was a.
Who doesn't like being on basic cable. This is Ghost Adventures, a show that once promised raw, dangerous, no-holds-barred paranormal investigation, and somehow evolved into a weekly improv exercise where the ghost is always angry, the evidence is always compelling, and the investigators are always one unexplained draft away from a spiritual breakdown. Back in the beginning, Ghost Adventure sold itself as something radically different.
Now look, okay, so this is how I approach ghosts, okay? So if I choose to believe that it doesn't exist, it won't show up for me. And I say that because I've been in houses, like for instance, my grandma's house, where she's experienced unbelievable things. She says she's seen people levitate. I'm not ever going to say that my grandma's lying. I'm just going to say this. I choose not to believe in them and to not see them so that I can live peacefully. I think if I just continue doing that, I should have zero problems, right? I should have zero problems. And so far, it's been working. Like my girlfriend, for example, says she's seen ghosts. She has a sense for that stuff. I blocked that out. I don't want to see it. I don't want to think about it. I don't want to imagine that it's happening. I don't want anything to do with it at all. I will listen to your stories, and even that is a little bit much for me. And maybe it's because I'm actually scared of them, but besides the point. That's besides the point.
Bro. Let me see it.
No psychics, no mediums, no calming background music telling you how to feel. Just 3 regular guys locked overnight in America's creepiest locations, armed with cameras, EMF meters, and an almost heroic disregard for personal safety. It was framed as dangerous, authentic, and borderline irresponsible, which, to be fair, was exactly why people loved it. But somewhere along the way, the lockdown investigations turned into theatrical seances, skepticism turned into certainty, and curiosity turned into...
Wait, what? What is this? Total votes, average rating from July 2020 to January of 2026. Votes are going up. What is this showing me right here?
Confrontation. What began as a rough-edged experiment in paranormal TV
was this ball of light and energy that manifested into this hand that only...
See, what was my mom doing?
My camera captured
slowly became a parody of itself, where every creak was a demon, every feeling was possession adjacent, and every episode felt like it was...
Like, what was my mom doing? Because look, bro, Look, she never missed an episode. She never missed an episode. I caught the episodes, and especially the reruns, whenever I would miss school. This woman never missed an episode. I think they even came out like on Wednesdays or something, I want to say. Let me see if that's right.
One cold breeze away.
Let me see if that's actually right. Hold on. What day of the week did Ghost Adventures and Ghost Hunters air on TV? Yep. Fucking Wednesday motherfucking nights. Hold on, let me look at that. Wednesday motherfucking night, boys. Wednesday night. Could you imagine that? Imagine I got that right off bat. That's how much we watched that shit, bro. Anyways, let me fucking keep going.
From an HR complaint filed against the Afterlife. So how did a show that once felt genuinely unsettling become a meme-generating factory of spiritual aggression?
Rats is right here.
Shut up.
Don't leak. Keep it still. Keep it still. I'm just documenting this right now.
And at what point did hunting ghosts turn into bullying them for content? To understand that, we have to go back to the beginning, before the demons had catchphrases and before the investigators started treating ghosts like unpaid supporting cast members. Before Ghost Adventures became a weekly
Hold on, boys. Let me pee real quick.
parade of spiritual ultimatums and invisible rage fits,
Who's there?
Oh, I got cold.
it started in a way
Bro, come on, bro. This is not good. It's not even good acting. Like, this is just a couple guys that, this is what happened. This is a couple of guys that got together. This is a couple of guys that got together, originally thought that ghosts were real. After a certain point, you have to pay the bills. And you can only pay the bills if you actually start finding ghosts. So that's what leads into a situation like this, where this guy acts like this.
Who's there?
Oh, I got cold.
This is a grown man, by the way. This is a grown man, by the way.
it's
And I think they fucked me up for life with this shit like this, because now I can't watch any ghost shows. And I'm still like iffy. I'm pretty sure they're real, right? Like, spirits are real to a certain degree, right? But these guys really fucked it up for a whole generation.
started in a way that almost feels illegal by today's standards. Small, scrappy, and weirdly sincere. In the mid-2000s, paranormal TV was already a crowded house. You had polite investigators asking spirits nicely to knock once for yes, twice for no, and you had soothing narrators reassuring viewers that everything was respectful, scientific adjacent, and definitely not staged. Then along came a group of guys who looked like they'd just wandered out of a Hot Topic parking lot and said, "What if we didn't do that?"
Oh my god, I'm starting to shake, man.
I know. Just don't open yourself up to them.
trying,
okay?
man,
Do
I'm
not
trying.
say you're starting to shake.
Okay.
At the center of it all was Zach Bagans, who in 2004 co-created a low-budget documentary with Nick Groff and Aaron Goodwin. The original Ghost Adventures film, shot at the notoriously reputed Goldfield Hotel in Nevada, leaned hard into danger and isolation. No camera crews, no dramatic recreations, just locked doors, handheld cameras, and the constant implication that something could go horribly wrong at any moment.
What the f*** is wrong with him?
I don't know, but I got 1 minute of tape left.
Nick, what's wrong with you, dude?
And for a
There's nothing wrong with him. He's rethinking his whole life.
while, that worked really
There's
well.
nothing
the
wrong with
rawness felt authentic, especially compared to the overly polished competition. The investigators weren't calm experts. They were visibly scared, confused, and sometimes completely out of their depth. When something unexplained happened, it felt earned, not because it was proven, but because the reactions were messy and human. That documentary eventually caught the attention of the Travel Channel, which greenlit the series in 2008. Paranormal TV was cheap to produce, endlessly scalable, and perfect for late
Edit: for anyone wondering, this documentary has been freely available online for years, including YouTube, because that was literally the only place it existed for quite a while. It wasn't until many years later they finally did an official DVD release and subsequently monetized the YouTube upload and put ads on it. But then when YouTube went through all kinds of weird changes and phases over the years, the documentary was lost in the mix and never re-uploaded. Travel Channel banished it to DVD years ago and never really cared that it was available online. So enjoy. If you love the guys, you can always buy the DVD as well.
Night audiences craving adrenaline with their insomnia.
Analysis of the video, you can clearly see the shadow from my arm and hand here.
When Ghost Adventures officially premiered as a series in October 2008, it was marketed as the dangerous alternative, the show that went further, stayed longer, and asked harder questions than anyone else on cable.
Nick, weren't you saying in Italian, come draw energy?
Yes, it hit you, Zach, and now it's hitting Aaron.
I can't even stand up.
Early seasons leaned heavily on that image. The investigations were darker, the tone more confrontational, and the premise simple. Lock 3 guys inside allegedly haunted locations overnight and see what happens. If ghosts were real, the show suggested, they weren't gentle. They were angry, unpredictable, maybe even hostile. Ghost Adventures didn't just want to observe the paranormal, it wanted to provoke it.
No, I can't.
We just received our highest EMF spike ever recorded on this device.
And at first, that provocation felt bold rather than desperate. The show expanded quickly, spawning specials and spin-offs as its popularity grew, and Zach Bagans became one of the
What? Okay, so Ghost Adventures house calls. I never seen any of these. Was this after, like, I must have left the house and then they started doing these. I didn't watch any ghost shows after I had left the house, mostly because at that point I was living alone, so I didn't have my mom there to make me feel better about it. Which is so weird. Isn't it weird that like as I don't know if this might be as a man whenever you're watching or playing like a scary game or watching a horror movie, if I'm doing it alone in my house right now, I get scared to fucking death. But if my children are in the house or my girlfriend is in the house, I'm not scared. That's got to be some like primal thing, right? Like, I know if they're here, I have to take care of them and I have to make sure that they're okay. But if they're not here, I am very scared. This shit scares me. But anyways, Ghost Adventures house calls, Ghost Adventures screaming room, Ghost Adventures serial killer spirits, Ghost Adventures aftershocks, Ghost Adventures quarantine, Ghost Adventures horror at Joe Exotic Zoo. Okay.
Most recognizable faces
How did they
in
get
modern
away with this
paranormal
shit?
television. He wasn't whispering respectfully into the void.
You know, because they didn't find anything in any of those places. You know?
He was staring it down and daring it to blink. The problem was that this entire premise depended on escalation.
I don't even remember that much. I remember screaming, but I don't remember knowing what I was saying.
It's
And
always something
escalation,
that
by
happens to
definition,
them.
never knows when to stop. The problem with building a show on escalation is that eventually you run out of places to go that don't involve yelling at drywall like it personally betrayed you. For Ghost Adventures, the first cracks didn't appear as one big scandal or catastrophic failure. They showed up quietly, episode by episode, as the tone shifted from investigation to accusation, from curiosity to confrontation, and from did something just happen to
People come here to die. Do you think the trend is gonna keep going, or it just stops because we're here?
something is always happening, and it is very mad. Early on, the show still maintained a thin veneer of uncertainty. EVPs were debated, shadow figures were questioned, feelings were framed.
Hold on, I gotta read this. All right, is Ghost Adventures truly fake or over exaggerated? We have seen these things that people want to see if Ghost Adventures are faking or not. We've seen Mythbusters stepping foot on the Goatman's Bridge and other YouTubers finding a reality check that either it's legit or not for Ghost Adventures being legit or not in their investigations. Am I fucking retarded? I came across someone saying people still watch this stage show. For all my years, I can't really see GAC faking their show. Yes, it is over exaggerated, but I highly believe that it's real. they probably believe in what they do, or at least used to. The overacting has increased over the years, but I still like this show for what it is, a show. The moment of yelling, the amount of yelling lately shows that it's not about actual ghost hunting, it's about shock value for watchers. It blows my mind how unprofessional they are during the hunts.
As reactions rather than evidence. But as seasons piled up, ambiguity became a liability. Paranormal television doesn't reward doubt, it rewards confidence.
Exorcist we've worked with before had given us some holy anointing oil to use in an emergency situation just like this.
And confidence slowly turned into certainty. Every location wasn't just haunted anymore, it was one of the most dangerous locations we've ever investigated. A phrase repeated so often.
Bro, every single time, bro. Guys, this one for real. This is the danger. This is the most danger. This is actually where danger lives.
Often, it might as well have been trademarked. This is where Zach Bagans began to change on camera. Not gradually, not subtly, but dramatically. He stopped being the guy asking questions and became the guy delivering ultimatums.
I've just started watching the show, so I haven't finished the season 1 yet, but from what I've gathered so far, a man named Zach walks into a haunted building wearing Ed Hardy shirts and way too big jeans, and his buddies just to spend an entire evening terrorizing dead people. He also really seems to like shushing his friends. They'll say something like, I heard a ghost around over there, and he's always responds with the same thing, shh, shh, shh. And after he spent hours saying the most offensive things he can think of to these poor ghosts, he'll make one of his friends sit alone in the dark room while he fucks off to take the hallway's temperature. Will he keep doing this throughout all the future seasons, or has he calmed down a bit over the years? P.S. Aaron seems like the sweetest person. I don't think him and Nate deserve to be used as entity bait all the time. It would be neat if they did their own show together with just the two of them. I don't think they would be as provocative in their dealings with the dead. That is true. They should have... Actually, that probably would have spiced things up a little bit if they, like, got away from Zach because they were like, hey, man, you're doing too much.
Spirits weren't...
He just wants answers.
asked to make contact. They were challenged, provoked, accused. If something felt off, it wasn't fear anymore. It was oppression, infestation, or full-blown demonic influence. The language escalated fast, and once demons enter the chat, there's no going back to maybe it was just a draft. Viewers notice. Longtime fans started joking that Zach was angrier at ghosts than most people are at their landlords. Memes circulated about him threatening spirits like they were interns who missed a deadline. What once felt intense now felt theatrical, and worse, predictable. You could almost set a timer for when someone would announce they felt sudden rage, dizziness, or an unexplained urge to leave the room immediately.
Have something to do with Carl Lawson's possession?
If I leave, we all have to leave!
Then came the internal fractures. Nick Groff, one of the original co-creators, slowly faded out of the series before officially leaving. The explanations were vague, diplomatic, and deeply unsatisfying. Creative differences.
Yeah, bro, honestly, at 45, bro, stop hunting ghosts.
Different directions. The kind of phrasing that translates loosely to, we are absolutely not saying what actually happened. Fans speculated endlessly, forums filled with theories, and the show quietly carried on as if losing a founding member was just a minor paranormal fluctuation. With Nick gone, the balance shifted further. Skepticism thinned. Pushback disappeared. Aaron Goodwin increasingly played the role of emotional barometer, reacting in visible fear, while Zach drove the narrative forward with unwavering certainty. The dynamic became less about investigation and more about validation.
Could this threat have been directed towards Nick because he's the only one of us that's married?
If Zach felt something, the episode treated it as fact. Critics began pointing out a deeper issue. Ghost Adventures wasn't just presented.
Why the show has taken a nosedive. I've watched season 1, episode 1. We've all seen the decline. Yes, I still watch. We all do. But we can also recognize it's less enjoyable. Here's why. Everything is a dark demon. They over-dramatize everything to be super negative, no longer caring about friendly spirits or residual energy. Capturing nice ghosts has just as much scientific benefit as capturing anything darker. okay, I see what you're saying there, but also they're going specifically, I think they were targeting places that had more aggressive ghosts, right? It's not like they were going to just houses that had just somebody stuck in a loop or whatever. So I get that one, but I think they were trying to do that. They wanted that shock value, so they would visit those places. Zach won't leave the West Coast. Reminder, when they went to that Italian island, I do, and that was over 10 years ago. None of the newer episodes are ever as memorable. Word is he fears a demon is following him and will cause a plane crash should he ever board one. They rely too much on personal experiences. Actual evidence is downplayed and personal experiences are always dubious. We can only take Aaron jumping around and freaking out so much. Yeah, I agree. They are reaching for storylines. Houdini is at the Winchester house just because he visited once. Give me a break. Go to actual locations with legitimate stacking history. Battlefields, why not? Yeah, right. Battlefields would have been crazy. Why didn't they ever go to a fucking battlefield where people actually brutally died over and over again? That makes so much fucking sense. Zach's obsession with control over the ghost hunting space has killed other shows I enjoyed. I dislike him more just for this fact. I've never met a ghost hunter that was a fan of Zach. Just ask Nick.
Paranormal experiences, it was narrativizing them in real time. Every feeling had a cause. Every reaction had an entity attached, and those entities were almost always hostile. This mattered because the show frequently filmed in places tied to real trauma: prisons, hospitals, sites of violence. What once felt like spooky exploration now felt uncomfortably close to exploitation, especially when emotional responses were framed as spiritual attacks rather than human reactions to disturbing environments. As social media grew, so did the backlash. Clips circulated on YouTube and TikTok, not to showcase evidence, but to mock it. Reaction videos dissected episodes frame by frame, pointing out dramatic editing, reused sound effects, and moments where compelling evidence looked suspiciously like someone bumping a camera. What used to be water cooler conversation turned into debunk compilations with millions of views.
Guy's permission to perform an exorcism.
That's fine, you have my permission.
Totally have my permission.
And yet, the show didn't pull back. It doubled down. More demons, more possessions, more declarations that something dark had followed the crew home. At one point, Ghost Adventures stopped feeling like a paranormal investigation series and started resembling an ongoing supernatural soap opera where the main antagonist was an unseen force with a personal vendetta against Zach Bagans specifically. The peak of the collapse wasn't a single episode, but a realization among viewers that nothing could surprise them anymore. Every location followed the same emotional arc: calm entry, rising tension, sudden rage, emergency exit, dramatic recap. Even the fear began to feel rehearsed, not because the cast was necessarily faking experiences.
Well, I ain't gonna lie though, bro. Whenever this shit was popping, bro, they had me hooked. I was hooked until I left the house, and then I had no reason to watch it at all because why the fuck would I put, you know? And they never caught anything. I think that's the biggest thing. Also, if they would have just walked into a... Okay, look. Hear me out. If they would have just walked into a home and been like, bro, you know, like after the after interview, whenever they're done ghost hunting and they're sitting down with the owner of the property, if they have done like even just 5 episodes where they were like, you know, we set out here all night. We've done everything that we can. We ran through all the scans. We ran through all the EVPs. We ran through all the recordings. We ran through all the video. And we sincerely have not found anything. As of right now, we don't believe that you have anything, but we would be willing to come back another time. Blah, 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 blah. If they would have done that even 5 times a season, that would have been amazing. I would have been like, bro, these guys are legit, bro. The problem is, like, people are just going to see through your bullshit when every fucking episode is a fucking ghost. Or a demon.
Who's here with us right now?
But because the show had trained itself into a corner where escalation was the only acceptable outcome. By the time headlines shifted from Ghost Adventures captures shocking evidence to is Ghost Adventures going too far, the damage was already done. The show was still airing, still producing content, but its cultural credibility had eroded. It wasn't must-watch television anymore. It was ironic viewing, comfort trash, background noise for people who once believed and now watched out of habit, or for the unintentional comedy. Ghost Adventures didn't collapse because it was exposed as fake. It collapsed because it became loud where it used to be, curious, certain where it used to be unsure, and hostile where it once felt genuinely afraid. In trying to prove the paranormal was real every single week, it accidentally proved something else entirely. That mystery doesn't survive constant explanation, and fear doesn't survive repetition. The reason Ghost Adventures feels so hollow today isn't because people suddenly became smarter, more skeptical.
Yeah, that by itself was scarier than anything I've ever seen them do ever. What the fuck was that? I'm not even going back. That was terrifying.
It's because the show quietly abandoned the one thing that made it work in the first place.
No.
What's the matter?
I'm chilling. Oh my God. All over, bro.
Hold your ground.
The possibility that nothing might happen. Early Ghost Adventures understood, even if accidentally, that tension comes from uncertainty. You lock yourself in a building overnight not because something definitely will happen, but because something might. That might is where the fear lives. Modern Ghost Adventures doesn't allow for might.
I honestly believe the biggest criticism is from the real fans that made the show popular to begin with, then to watch Zach grow into an aggressive narcissist, womanizing bully jackass is just sad. I love the show for a long time. Jump to watch turn it into the Zach ass show. The main problem I have with him is he is a bully in every aspect of his life. GA is going to be dropped at Ghost Adventures is going to be dropped after the season. Then maybe we can get some better shows back on air. The ones that actually tried to help people.
Episode arrives preloaded with conclusions. The location isn't potentially haunted.
I didn't really think he was an asshole. I think he was just trying to sell a show. You know, I don't think you're an asshole for trying to sell a show. But you can't be mad when people are like, "Hey, bro, this shit sucks and I don't want to watch it," you know? That's whenever it is a problem.
Dangerously infested. The spirits aren't unknown, they're hostile. And the emotional reactions of the crew aren't responses, they're symptoms. The show stopped documenting experiences and started diagnosing them, often in real time, without pause, reflection, or the slightest hint of self-doubt. This creates a closed loop where the narrative can never be challenged. If Zach feels angry, it's a demon. If Aaron feels scared, it's an attachment. If someone questions it, that skepticism itself becomes part of the haunting. The system is airtight.
Maybe if we had been able to hear those threats with our own ears, we would.
Not because it's logical, but because it refuses to admit alternative explanations. Anxiety, suggestion, exhaustion, and the psychological weight of being in dark, emotionally loaded spaces are never allowed to exist on their own. Everything must be paranormal, or the episode collapses. And structurally, the show is trapped. Paranormal TV thrives on novelty. But Ghost Adventures has been running long enough that novelty is impossible without escalation. You can't keep promising the most dangerous investigation ever for over a decade without eventually sounding like satire. The demons get bigger, the stakes get higher, and the claims get wilder, not because the evidence demands it, but because the format does. Social media only magnified this problem. Clips don't circulate because they're convincing. They circulate because they're absurd.
Whoa. It said Bishop. Bishop? Yep. That was good.
A single out-of-context moment of Zach threatening an unseen entity now lives forever as a meme, stripped of atmosphere and presented as comedy.
Show yourself.
The show isn't competing with other paranormal series anymore. It's competing with its own highlights reel, edited by people who don't believe a word of it. There's also an ethical fatigue setting in. When every tragic location is framed as a battlefield between demons and television personalities, it starts to feel less like exploration and more like spectacle. Real suffering becomes set dressing. History becomes content. And viewers, even the ones who still enjoy the show, can sense that something is off. The fear feels performative. The danger feels exaggerated. The sincerity that once carried the series is gone, replaced by a machine that must keep feeding itself bigger reactions to justify its existence. Ghost Adventures isn't bad now because ghosts stopped cooperating.
I killed.
This is easily one of the most impactful statements we have ever documented.
It's bad because it no longer trusts the audience to sit with uncertainty. It insists on explaining everything, proving everything, feeling everything at maximum intensity
So-
every single time. And it
Those EVP boxes always pissed me off because even as a kid, I was like, I understand radio frequencies. If this is just picking up if it's just bouncing from radio frequency to radio frequency, aren't we just picking up like a radio station for a second, you know? Maybe I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's all those boxes do is just kind of sift through different radio frequencies, and then if something comes up out of those, then they're assuming that it's a ghost channeling itself through a radio frequency.
in doing so, it drains the paranormal of
Doesn't
the
make
very
sense.
thing that made it compelling.
It does not
the
make
uncomfortable
sense.
silence where you're not sure if you just saw something or if your brain is playing tricks on you. When a show about the unknown becomes absolutely certain, there's nowhere left to go. And that's the real haunting Ghost Adventures can't seem to escape. Ghost Adventures almost worked because it once understood that fear lives in uncertainty. Early on, it didn't need to prove anything. It just locked the doors, turned off the lights, and let silence do the heavy lifting. You weren't watching for answers, you were watching because you didn't know what might happen. Over time, that restraint disappeared. Mystery was replaced by certainty, curiosity by confrontation, and atmosphere by non-stop escalation. Every ghost became a demon, every emotion became possession adjacent, and every location turned into the most dangerous place we've ever investigated. Not because the evidence demanded it, but because the format did.
These exposed studs, you can see a dark, unexplained mass
Unexplained
moving
dark
intelligently
mass.
in the background.
Definitely
What
not my
died wasn't
shadow.
belief in the paranormal, it was trust. Trust that the audience could handle ambiguity. Trust that nothing happening could still be interesting. Once a show about the unknown becomes absolutely
Now look, with all that being said also, I would never step into these places. I don't care if they were faking it, I still wouldn't go.
sure of itself, it stops being scary and starts being loud.
I don't believe
Ghost
them.
Adventures didn't fail because ghosts aren't real. It failed because it refused to let them stay mysterious. Like, subscribe and tell us which reality show should be put out of its misery next.
What if you were
There it is,
It's 3 in the morning.
boys. Why Ghost Adventures fell off. Leave the video a like. This video was from Buzzkill. Love the fucking show. I mean, I love this video. I love the show too back in the Disney. Not gonna mention Aaron's wife hiring a hitman on him is wild work. What? All right, Victoria Goodwin, the estranged wife of Ghost Adventure star Aaron Goodwin, was arrested on what the fuck? In March 2025 for a murder for hire plot against her husband. She pleaded guilty conspiracy to commit murder and was sentenced in June of 2025 to 36 to 90 months, 3 to 7.5 years. You should get way longer for plotting. If my girlfriend only got 3 to 7 years for plotting my death, I'm gonna plot hers. Holy shit. Soliciting and conspiring to commit murder after allegedly trying to hire a hitman to kill Aaron. Investigators discovered that Victoria was communicating with Grant Amato, a Florida inmate serving life sentence for murdering his own family via contraband phone. Messages revealed where Victoria stated she chose to end Aaron's existence rather than divorce him. She allegedly sent $2,500 up front and provided Aaron's filming schedule to a hitman. What the fuck? Aaron stated that he was blindsided and devastated, believing they were in a happy marriage. He filed for divorce shortly after her arrest. The moment Aaron learned of the plot was captured on camera while filming an episode of Ghost Adventures. Okay, hold on. Wait. Aaron Goodwin Ghost Adventures Hitman.
Alright, I'm gonna try to take a picture of this fast. So what I'm doing right now, I'm laying UV lights, and then I take a long exposure Polaroid for like 30 seconds or to a minute, and just let it sit there with the lens open. Oh God, dude, I feel like something's happening.
Suddenly, Aaron gets a notification on his phone, and we can sense something is wrong.
Dude. Hold on for a second.
What's going on?
You alright?
You okay?
Bro, the police are in my house.
What?
I gotta go outside.
It's fine, but I'm not staying in here by myself.
No way, they captured this shit
I
on.
don't know what's going on. Aaron was getting a phone call or something. He said the police are at his house. And he said he had to go outside.
At this point, we will not be showing any further footage, but it is at this moment that Aaron receives a call from the police that his wife has been arrested and charged with conspiracy to commit murder by hiring a hitman to have Aaron killed.
What the fuck? They actually captured that on the episode. Holy crap, bro. Aaron revealed that he feared for his life, had to enter therapy, and felt his trust was completely broken. Yeah, no fucking shit. Holy crap, bro. Police also discovered a disturbing exchange of text messages where Victoria allegedly asked, "Am I a bad person? Because I chose to end his existence, not divorce." Yeah, I fucking reckon. Yo, and they gave this fucking woman 3.5 years to 7 years. Bro. The authorities uncovered the plot when prison officials discovered messages on an inmate's phone. Victoria was arrested on charges of solicitation to commit murder and conspiracy to commit murder. At the time of the arrest, she was being held at a $100,000 bail. Victoria allegedly initiated the discussions about ending her marriage after it became apparent she was unhappy with her relationship. In one message, she admitted to the inmate that her marriage was in distress and said, "I told him I was unhappy, but I just want out." She's even using the killer for emotional support, using the prisoner in jail as a shrink. This is why TV films are bad. So bad. Real life is much more crazy. This is an emotional support hitman. I understand, but you still need to buy a second ticket. I can't just leave him on the plane. He's very well behaved, though it's not like he is not even there. Can't you make an exception? If you are with him, created below or stored in overhead, we could make that work. What the fuck? Holy shit, man. Holy shit. Anyways.
It's 3 in the morning. The lights are off.
Anyways, why Ghost Adventures fell off. Holy crap, bro. Subscribing to this. Subscribe to Buzzkill. Fucking amazing video. Fuck yeah. I had no fucking idea. That's crazy. That's actually fucking crazy.